Hi guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everyone's having a good weekend. And we're gonna make a sack mead. That's what the title says anyway, right? And if you don't know what a sack mead is, it's a high alcohol content mead. And we're gonna use Lavlin K1V 1116, and it has a ABV tolerance of 18%, but it won't usually get there on its own, especially if you just dump it in honey. Honey doesn't have any nutrients, and that's one of the cool things we're going to do. We're going to use Meadow foam honey, which is kind of a top tier honey. It's pretty expensive, and it tastes kind of like marshmallows and vanilla. And it's really yummy. It doesn't have that kind of tang that a lot of honeys have, which is, I like those tangs, but that's just the characteristic of this honey. And I think I paid $50 for this little 6-ounce or 6-pound thing, so it was pretty expensive. Anyway, since we want to do a really high gravity, we're gonna start out with some Go Firm. It's Go Firm Protect Evolution, and you add this to your yeast hydration. So it says 1.25 grams per, it's kind of sticky, per gram of yeast. So I'm going to overpitch this and use a whole package in a gallon. And so that means we're going to need 6.25 grams of this stuff. So I got this, I had the scale already tore here. I don't know if I can zoom in a little more. There we go. Now you guys can see. Okay, 4.92. This will be good. It's pretty close. 5.93. So we need just a little bit this time. 6.27. So we try to take that little. 6.26. See if we can get it right on the money. 6.22. 6.25, right on the money. Cool. Oh shoot, it went down to 2.4. That's all right. We can live with that. Oh darn it, that went down to 2.3. This scale's a little slow on registering. Funny story, when I first got it, I turned it on and put the calibration weight on it. It came with the calibration weight, and it was like moving all over the place. And I was like, oh man, they sold me a junk scale. And then I started looking at the instructions, and it said, turn off your ceiling fan. Really? And so I moved it away from the ceiling fan, and it worked perfect. So it's really sensitive. It's just a little slow. It's not instant. It takes a little bit of a lag, but okay, we're just a 100th of a gram over, so I think we can live with that. And we're going to add a little water here. Okay, so we'll put this on the stir plate and get that stirred up. It's a little too fast, huh? It can be temperamental sometimes. Okay, they're starting to stir. We'll just wait for that to stir up. Since we're going for a high ABV, I'm going to use this, and then when I get the meat all mixed up, it's just going to be honey and water. And I'm going to put some Go Firm Type O in it, which is organic nitrogen. So that'll help the yeast get going really well, and give them everything they need to be healthy and do a really good ferment. And we're going to start by adding just 2 pounds of honey in a gallon of water, and we'll let that start fermenting, and we'll keep an eye on that. And when it gets to probably like 60 or 70% done with that, chewing through those sugars, I will add another pound of honey. And then probably in a few more days, we'll add another pound of honey. And then in between, we'll also, I'm just going to do little feedings with the nutrients. So I'm kind of not doing this by directions, because the directions don't say how to do this. So after the first one with the Meado, I'll use Mead K, which has DAP, diammonium phosphate, in it. And it's okay to use that as long as your yeast are good and healthy. But it also has other stuff in it, amino acids and all that cool stuff. And hopefully we can get it to ferment all the way down to the 18% ABV, and then I want it to stall there, or if it goes a little further, that's cool. But then we're going to add more honey to it and make it nice and sweet like a dessert. And so it's going to be a high ABV and a dessert. So it's kind of expensive to make, which is why back in the day it was kind of reserved for the kings and queens and noble people, or a very special occasion for the more common people, because it was just takes a lot of honey, and honey's always been expensive. So I'm gonna shut you off for now and get some stuff made, and then we'll come back on. Okay, we got the yeast done. It's been going for probably close to an hour now, 45 minutes at least. You can see it's working away really nicely. I added the water and the yeast and the full firm, and then a little bit of as it started spinning and getting used to that, I started adding a little bit of honey to it to get it used to its environment that it's going to be working in. And we have, in my bucket of awesomeness here, we have just a little over 2 pounds, because it weighs a pound, or I zeroed it out at a pound instead of doing all that spinning. It's an old-fashioned analog scale. I've been going for a while, so I covered it up with sanitized plastic, of course. And the reason why this is a bucket of awesomeness, because I use this in all kinds of things. I can hook a hose onto it and put a bottling wand. It's a bottling bucket. I don't have to worry about siphoning. It's way easier to do that than trying to siphon it. It's good for mixing up meads. You can get out here and stir in it real well and aerate things really nice. You can turn it upside down and set a big bottle on top of it and do a rack off into another bottle or a jug for secondary. So lots of uses for this. It's just like a $4, $3 and something cents Home Depot bucket.
What's the spigot?
Oh, I gotta. Oh yeah, I had to put the spigot on myself. I bought them off Amazon. It was probably another $3 or $4 for three of those, I think. And this one's got, it's all marked on here. So I'm gonna go at just a gallon, because as I add a pound of honey each time, it's going to keep going up. And depending on how many times we add it, we may end up with like 1.5 gallons maybe. Okay, I'm going to shut you off for a minute so I can finish pouring this. Okay, we're right at 1 gallon. And we're going to add just a touch of Meado. This gets 1.5 or maybe 1.25, I can't remember, 1.5 teaspoons per 5 gallons. So we are just going to put in, I could do all the math and weigh it out, but that seems like a good amount. Maybe a little less. There. We'll put that much in. You measure with your heart, not with your measuring cup, right? But that doesn't always work for everything. It makes good chili that way. Let's see. Now we just gotta stir it all up real well. It's scooping right off the bottom. Okay, you get the gist of that. I'll bring you back when I'm done stirring. Okay, see, this is what I was talking about the bucket. It's just so much easier to stir this up. Now, it's been stirred for a while, but I take my time and get tired of stirring and rest for a little. Not really rest, just get away from it for a minute and come back and keep whipping it up and getting lots of oxygen down inside of that. Way less effort than shaking up a jug. Okay, I think that's good for now. Then let's take a gravity reading and I'll come back when we get that ready. See there, bucket of awesomeness. I don't have to use a what you call it, the turkey baster to suck all that out. One less thing to wash. I can take my gravity ring or fill my cylinder up just right out of the bucket spigot. Okay, we're doing the gravity, and I don't think I can. Sometimes I can get it so it works for you guys, and other times I can't. Not really. It's a 1.090 or 10, 11, like a 12% ABV. And since mead takes so long, I mean, they sit in fermentation for generally about a month, 2-3 weeks anyway, and then they go into secondary or whatever you want to do. But so we started making these tags for them. So this one has all the information up to date on it. It's made today. Up here in the corner it has yeast, what kind of yeast we use. It's a sack mead. Flying Bee was the brand. Meadow Foam Honey, and the gravity's 1.090. Okay, I'm gonna get this all bucketed up and we'll come back and finish this video up. Okay, we got it all in the bucket, and let me tell you what we got going on here. We got some cheapo Lowe's 2.5 gallon buckets for small batch fermentations, because when we're doing Melamars and the brochets, they foam up so bad, they overflow the 1 gallon unless you leave a lot of headroom, which we really don't want to do. So we're fermenting in buckets, small buckets. That way when we're done fermenting, we can go into secondary. We'll have just the right amount. We'll just fill it like if this was one of the gallon fermenter jugs, we'd fill it just right up to here and we'll get maximum stuff out of that. But so we got this shrink wrap for packing, and I just put some over the top, sanitize it, kind of cut some into little strips and tie it around it in a band to seal it on, and then let it stick onto itself like that. And that works. And put the lid on and then poke a hole. Here, I'll show you how to do that. Well, I screwed up. I had the camera on picture when I turned it back on. Anyway, basically you put the lid on, and then I don't put the grommet in there, and the bubble wraps or the plastic wraps right there, and I just poke a hole in it with this. Then that puts the hole right in the center where I want it. The lid's holding it down. It's not going to move around. And so then I put the grommet in and poke the bubbler kind of way down in there to make sure we get inside the plastic. You can see that's got a rubber seal in them buckets, but they just won't seal up no matter what. And I've got to see it bubbling. If I don't, I I can't sleep at night. So that's got to happen. What else? So I tasted it, kind of licked the bucket more or less, the mixed bucket, and that honey is so yummy. It tastes like marshmallows and just yumminess. It's hard to describe, but marshmallow definitely one of the flavors. Maybe a little bit of vanilla. I got this from Flying Bee Ranch. They're in Salem, Oregon. And they were kind of slow on shipping from when I placed the order. I ordered 2 2-gallon buckets of some blackberry, or one 2-gallon bucket of blackberry and 1 2-gallon bucket of orange blossom, and then this. And their prices aren't too bad. I mean, I'm sure if you've never bought bulk honey, that sounds expensive. $50 for that 6 pounds of honey, but metal foam's expensive. It's like 3 something, $3.75. It might even be more expensive for a 5-gallon bucket of that stuff. And it's $156 for 2 gallons. It's pretty high. Where the blackberry was only like the blackberry was only like $89 for 2 gallons, and the orange blossom was $106. So anyway, but that's what it costs to buy honey and make mead. That's why it's not cheap, and that's why it's not everywhere, right? Anyway, I'm gonna let you go with that. Get this all edited together and post it up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please feel free to ask any comments, any questions you got. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of love. Bye.